The internet is not a library. We like to think of it as a vast, organized collection of human knowledge, but those of us who were there in the early days, the days of dial-up tones and lawless message boards, know the truth. The internet is a dark, rising ocean. Most people only ever swim in the shallows of the surface web. But beneath the search engines and the social media platforms, there are trenches. Deep, pressurized zones where data goes to die, and where things that were never meant to be found wait for an invitation. In 2004, a file began to circulate on a forgotten IRC channel. It was called Terminal 9. It was only 6 megabytes, but it contained enough horror to break a dozen lives. My name is Marcus, and tonight we are entering the deep end. I was 19 years old, living in a cramped studio apartment in Seattle. It was the height of the lost media craze. Everyone was looking for the next cursed video or the next redacted government document. When I saw the link for Terminal 9, I didn't hesitate. I thought I was untouchable. I thought a screen was a shield. The forum post was simple. Do not watch alone. Do not watch with the lights off. Do not look behind you. I laughed. I turned off the lights, cracked a soda, and hit download. The file didn't have an extension. No .mp4, no .avi. It was just an executable. A bridge. The installation took forever. My computer, a beige tower that groaned every time I opened a browser, sounded like it was grinding gravel. The screen flickered, the resolution dropping until the icons on my desktop were nothing but jagged blocks of color. And then the player opened. It was a simple black window with no controls, no play button, no volume slider, just a grainy, green-tinted night vision feed. At first I thought it was a prank, a loop of someone's basement. But then I saw the chair. I saw the pile of laundry in the corner. I saw the glowing power light of a beige computer tower. My heart didn't just skip a beat. It felt like it stopped entirely. The video wasn't a recording. It was a live feed of my own room from a camera that didn't exist. I didn't own a webcam. In 2004, they were clunky, expensive peripherals that sat on top of monitors. I looked around my dark studio, my eyes searching the corners for a hidden lens. There was nothing. But on the screen, I could see myself. I could see the back of my head, the glow of the monitor illuminating my hair. I waved my hand. The figure on the screen waved back, a half-second delay making the movement look jerky and unnatural. That's when the wrongness started to bleed through the digital noise. On the screen, the door to my closet was open. In reality, I could see the door out of the corner of my eye. It was shut. I stared at the monitor, my breath coming in shallow hitches. On the screen, a hand, long, pale, and trembling, slowly emerged from the closet door. It reached out, its fingers brushing against my jacket. The anatomy of the thing was entirely wrong. The arm didn't bend at a joint. It curved like a piece of heavy, wet rope. As the shoulder followed, I saw that it was completely hairless, wrapped in a sheen of something that looked like digital static translated into physical slime. It didn't step out of the closet so much as it poured itself onto the floor, its limbs folding and unfolding in a silent, agonizing rhythm. The smell hit me a moment later. Ozone, burning plastic, and the sickeningly sweet scent of old, stagnant water. It was the smell of a machine trying to replicate biology and failing. I spun around. The closet door was still shut. The room was silent save for the hum of my computer's cooling fan. I turned back to the screen. The hand was gone. Instead, the figure on the monitor, the version of me, was no longer looking at the screen. He was looking at the closet. He looked terrified. I tried to close the program. I smashed the escape key, Alt F4, even the power button on the monitor. Nothing worked. The screen was locked. A text box appeared at the bottom of the video feed, the letters appearing one by one as if they were being typed by someone on the other end. "He likes your skin," the message said. "He wants to see if it fits." The vibration started then, a low-frequency thrum that seemed to come from inside the monitor itself. The night vision feed on the screen began to glitch, the colors inverting and tearing. Every time the screen flickered, the figure in the closet was closer. One frame. It was at the edge of the door. The next, it was standing directly behind my chair. It was tall, impossibly tall, with limbs that looked like they had been broken and reset at wrong angles. It didn't have a face, just a smooth, featureless surface of gray skin that reflected the light of the monitor like wet slate. I felt a sudden freezing draft on the back of my neck. Not a draft from a window, a breath. I didn't look back. I knew that if I turned around, the two worlds, the digital and the physical, would merge. I grabbed the power cord for the computer and ripped it from the wall. The room plunged into total darkness. The silence was deafening. I sat there for what felt like hours, my eyes straining to see into the blackness of my own apartment. I could hear it. A soft, wet sliding sound like a heavy tarp being dragged across the floor. It moved from the closet, past my chair and toward the front door, and then the sound of the deadbolt sliding into place. I wasn't locked in with it. It had locked me in, so it could leave. I sat on the floor with my knees pulled to my chest, gripping a heavy metal flashlight that I was too terrified to turn on. The hours until dawn were an eternity of auditory hallucinations. Every settling floorboard sounded like a footstep. Every rush of wind against the window pane sounded like a breath against the glass. I realized the true horror wasn't just that the thing had escaped my computer. It was that the room now felt empty, in a way it never had before. A piece of my reality had been hollowed out, replaced by a cold, humming void. When the first gray light of morning finally crept through the blinds, I didn't feel relief. I just felt exposed. Later that morning, I found my computer tower in the middle of the kitchen. It was smashed to pieces, the motherboard snapped in half, but the monitor was missing. I moved out that day. I left my furniture, my clothes, everything. I moved to a different city, changed my name, and stopped using the internet for 3 years. But sometimes when I'm in a public place, a library or a cafe, I catch a glimpse of a screen, and for a split second, I see a night vision feed of a dark room. And in the corner of that room, I see a beige monitor glowing with a familiar green light. He's still watching, and he's still wearing my skin. Was it a government experiment? A digital haunting? Or just a glitch in the fabric of reality? You decide, but remember, your screen is not a shield. It's a window, and windows work both ways. Sleep well. This has been Somnia Vault. Subscribe for more stories and click the linked video below for better sleep. Good night.